Assetto Corsa is not the newest sim racing game. It doesn't have a career mode that holds your hand, it hasn't been updated by devs in years, but 10 years after release, millions still consider it the best sim racer ever made. Join me on a journey to figure out why. So let's go back before Assetto Corsa was a global phenomenon, back in a garage in Italy. The story doesn't begin with $1 million budget of 200 developers. It actually begins in a garage on a racetrack right outside of Rome. The team was called Kunos, and hardly anyone outside of the sim racing community knew their name. But within a tight-knit circle, they were already becoming admired, because this was the same team that gave us Netcar Pro. It's a niche sim racing game from 2006 that barely sold, but it had one thing going for it, which was its pure driving feel. It had the kind of physics that didn't need flashy graphics or marketing hype to impress. You either got it or you didn't. And if you were the kind of person who could feel the weight shift in your virtual cockpit, the kind of person who noticed tire flex mid-corner, you knew that Kunos was trying to do something special. Basically, the driving of Netcar Pro, the production value of Gran Turismo, and the community freedom of R Factor. And they were gonna do it with fewer than 10 people. In 2013, Assetto Corsa entered Steam Early Access, and from the very beginning it felt different. Not because it was finished, it wasn't. The UI was rough, the content was sparse, and the menus were clearly still being duct taped together. But under the hood was something real. Even in those first few builds, the physics engine was something else. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't trying to be cinematic, it was just true. Laser scan tracks, real tire modeling, and force feedback that for a lot of us finally made sense. And there was this quiet confidence about Assetto Corsa. Like Kunos knew they weren't trying to win the headlines, they were building something for people who loved driving. And most importantly, they were listening. Every update felt like a conversation. You'd post a feedback on Race Department, and weeks later, that exact issue would be patched. They weren't just building a game, they were building trust. And if you were there in those early days, you could feel it coming. Assetto Corsa wasn't just another driving sim, it was the beginning of something. When Assetto Corsa 1.0 first hit in 2014, it launched with 11 cars and 37 tracks. From the start, Kunos wasn't trying to dazzle you with quantity, they were going for quality, and it showed immediately. The core handling and force feedback just clicked, and even back then, it felt different, clearer, more grounded, the kind of driving that doesn't need a tutorial because you just understood it, it was intuitive. And honestly, after seriously jumping back into the game to make this video, I was shocked. I actually think this might be my favorite handling model in all of sim racing. It doesn't lack the feeling like iRacing, but it doesn't feel over-exaggerated like R Factor 2. It feels just right. Responsive, intuitive. The car does exactly what you'd expect it to do. If you mess up, you know why. And somehow that simplicity makes it more immersive than some sims with double the complexity. Critics at the time had mixed feelings. The physics were praised, but some people pointed out the limited content, the clunky UI, and the bare-bones career mode. But honestly, I think the base game, after it's been fully developed without mods, actually deserves more love. The career mode and challenge mode, I think, are surprisingly fun, especially for new sim racers. It's a great training tool for them, because you're not just hot lapping, but you actually have goals. And the pre-made races, the AI are really honed in for them and very fun to race against. The AI in those races and in certain top tier mods can put up a serious fight. They don't just follow lines, you can bait them into mistakes, you can race them hard, defend aggressively, and they'll push back. Sometimes they even go at each other like real drivers do. And for VR users like me, the base game content was the sweet spot because it was optimized and cleaned and worked right outside the box. You didn't have to tweak too much like you have to do with some of the mods. Then came 2016, and Assetto Corsa made the jump to consoles. 505 Games handled the port for PS4 and Xbox One, and while it brought the game to a much bigger audience, the compromises were obvious. Lower fidelity, reduced performance, and a lack of modding. It wasn't the ideal way to experience AC, but it widened the door, and right around that time, something bigger started happening on the PC space. Teams like Racing Studio and VRC started putting out content that felt like DLC, and in some cases even better than the official content. And just like that, the foundation that Kunos built, tight physics, clean engine, moddable structure, became the launching pad for something much bigger. The sim was no longer just released, it was unleashed. Assetto Corsa was already a great sim at launch, but the community made it legendary. Because Kunos didn't just tolerate modding, they embraced it. From day one, Assetto Corsa's file structure, physics engine, and overall design were like an open invitation to tinker. No locked systems, no walled gardens, just tools and freedom. And that freedom sparked something that even now hasn't slowed down. In a lot of ways, I think Assetto Corsa has the strongest foundation for modding in the entire sim racing genre, even stronger than rFactor 1, which was the go-to modding sim of the generation before. Because where rFactor gave us flexibility, Assetto Corsa added refinement. A level of moddability so deep and so stable, it's like the game was built to last decades. You can see that in how far people have taken it. Open world maps, free roam cities, rally stages, race conversions, even the graphics can be completely overhauled to meet modern standards. We're in 2025 now, and Assetto Corsa still looks better than some new releases. And it's all thanks to a handful of game-changing mods. First came out Content Manager, and that became the default way to play the game. No more clunky menus. You had car previews, drag and drop installs. It was like a fresh coat of paint was put on the game, and it's very, very customizable. Then came the custom shaders patch, and that's where things get even crazier. CSP didn't just add quality of life tweaks, it literally redefined what the engine was capable of. Night racing, wet weather, dynamic lighting, improved reflections, grass effects, the kind of features you'd expect from a new game, all modded into a 2014 sim. And if that wasn't enough, you had Soul and later Pure skybox and weather systems that turned AC into a visual powerhouse. Sunsets that felt like golden hour in real life, cloud systems that changed dynamically over a race, even lightning storms if you wanted them. And the talent didn't stop there. Racing Studios started putting out car packs that were better than official DLC. And then there was Fat Alfie, one guy building handcrafted tracks with the kind of attention to detail you'd expect from an entire studio. Assetto Corsa stopped being just a sim. It became a sandbox. Suddenly, people weren't just running GT3s at Spa, they were cruising Tokyo highways at night in full traffic servers. They were meeting friends on open world free roam maps, driving, chatting, role-playing, vibing. Some servers even started to feel a blend of GTA and Forza Horizon, but with sim-level physics underneath. And none of that came from Kunos. It came from the community. From people who loved this game so much they never stopped building new ways to enjoy it. That's the real magic of Assetto Corsa. It didn't just survive because of its driving model, it thrived because of its flexibility, because of what people made with it. And because of that, it's not just a racing game anymore. It's a platform, a playground, a living and continually evolving passion project that 10 years later is still going strong. It's 2025, we've got sim racing titles with photoreal graphics, fully dynamic weather, and monthly esports events with real-world drivers. And yet somehow a sim from 2014 is still one of the most played, most beloved, and most modded racing game in the world. Why? Because Assetto Corsa offers something that newer sims still struggle to capture. Freedom. There's no subscription fees, no car packs locked behind online passes, no daily races or ranking systems forcing you to drive one way. Just you, your wheel, your setup, and whatever experience you want to build. And thanks to the modding scene we talked about, that experience can literally be anything. You want to run a full IndyCar season? Done. You want to drive WRC stages in VR? Done. You want to lap Tsukuba in 90s Civics or go wheel-to-wheel in a 70s F1 car? Done. If it exists in the world of motorsport, or even could have existed, chances are it's already in Assetto Corsa. And the endless content means something even more powerful: accessibility. Because AC isn't just versatile, it's affordable. It runs on older PCs. It doesn't require a $4,000 rig. You can play it on a basic setup and still have one of the best, most immersive sim racing experiences ever made. Online racing is the best it's ever been. Thanks to low fuel motorsport, online racing in Assetto Corsa today is smoother, more populated, and more customizable than it ever was back in 2014. No major publishers, nor corporate esports structure, just racers who love to race. And if you're a VR racer like me, AC holds up shockingly well. Sure, some mods don't play nice with headsets, but just having the possibility to jump into any car, any track, in fully immersed VR is kinda mind-blowing. And as your hardware gets better, your experience gets richer. You can actually grow into this game. And that's not something you can say about most sims or even most games. Because at this point, Assetto Corsa isn't really a game anymore. It's a platform, a foundation for whatever flavor of sim racing you're into. Some people use it for serious league racing because it's solid, rock stable, and endlessly tweakable. Others just load up traffic mods and cruise through Tokyo for the vibes. And some build career mode-like experiences. Others use it like a track day sim. It's as casual or as hardcore as you want it to be. So, will Assetto Corsa ever die? That's the funny thing, it should have faded years ago. The physics engine is over a decade old. The UI is still a mess unless you mod it, and some of its biggest features weren't ever officially added, they were community built. And it somehow feels official now. But here we are in 2025, and Assetto Corsa isn't just alive, it's flourishing. You'd think its successor would have taken over by now. But ACC, that was never really their heir to the throne. It's gorgeous, the GT3 experience is top tier, but it's locked down. No mods, no street cars, no sandbox. It's a narrow experience that does a great job, but it's not Assetto Corsa. And while Assetto Corsa Evo is technically out in early access, there's still question marks. Maybe it'll evolve into the next great open sim. Or maybe it's aimed at an entirely different crowd, one that prioritizes polish and presentation over total freedom. We don't know yet. But in the meantime, the original AC keeps marching forward, and it doesn't feel like a relic. It feels like a living, breathing game. Some of the newest car mods, some of the latest maps, they look next gen. Dynamic lighting, rain effects, particle trails, day-to-night transitions, all from a community that refuses to let go. Assetto Corsa gave us something most games don't: trust, tools, and time. It let the community build, and they built magic. Whether it's cruising through Tokyo at night, or sweating through a league race on a scratch-built track, Assetto Corsa has somehow become more than a sim. It's become a sim racing home, and honestly, I don't think it's going anywhere.